How many of you have your license? You can drive here and there and everywhere. About a third of you. How many people someday would like to have your license? Hopefully that's everyone else. You do not want to be that person that's 23 or 4 years old asking your friends for a ride because you don't have your license, right? Yeah. Here's a picture of somebody who recently got their license. This is from Arizona. This picture's from Arizona. And would this be, in your mind, an excellent day for this young driver? The driver of the vehicle is 22 years old. He had an 18-year-old passenger in the side of the car with him, so maybe a little older than you, but a day that hopefully none of you ever have, right? Not an excellent day. The guy was going from right to left. You can see where the sheriffs are there. He's coming down a mountain. He loses control, hits the guardrail, flips over a couple times, lands on the other side of the culvert. Excellent day? Yes. Not so much, yes. He comes away with nothing more than scrapes and bruises. But let me tell you why this is an excellent day for him. Because you don't understand the whole story. You don't have the whole picture. If you had the whole picture, you would believe this is actually a very impressive day. Can we have the next picture? Which is the same picture, now you have the whole thing. That's where this actually happened. For the rest of this guy's life, he's going to be like, you're never going to believe how incredible a day I had when I should have died by plummeting 1,000 feet, and instead, he's got this incredible story about, I believe, God protecting that kid, okay? That day was actually pretty excellent for him. But it didn't look like it from the first part of that picture because you didn't have the whole story. And here's what I want to say about each of you, is that God has, and in His Bible He tells us, in His Word He tells us, God has an incredible plan for your life. He has an excellent plan for your life. The problem is right now you don't get to see your whole life. You're going to live, the Bible says that the days of a man are about 70 years. Now with modern medicine, people are living a lot longer. My grandfather's close to 90. Okay? So you have a life that is really long and you've only lived maybe a fifth of it, maybe less. Okay? Odds are with advances in medicine, you're going to live a long, long time. Okay? I mean, we don't know, but odds are that's how it is. But what do you see? You see right now. You see part of the picture. Okay? So you might say, my life sucks. I'm having a crappy day. I'm having a crappy life. I'm having a crappy year. Like that, when you saw part of that picture, you said, oh, that wasn't a good day. That was actually a really amazing day if you see the whole picture. Okay? And what I want to say today is, before we even dig into what is excellent, how do we have an excellent life, I want to say that I believe that God has an excellent plan for your life, and that the decisions, the thoughts, the actions, the attitudes that you have each day move you further along towards excellence, or they take you away from excellence. The problem is none of us would look at life, most of us wouldn't look at life right now and go, oh, it is just awesome, it's so excellent. You'd be like, it kind of sucks, I got picked on at school, or I applied for like 3 or 4 jobs at different stores in the mall, I'm not getting any of them. We all have things in our life that we're like, it's not so cool. If we knew the whole picture, and God does, you would see that these are each things hopefully moving you in a direction of excellence based on your decisions. And when you're 20 and 30 and 40, you're going to look back and go, oh, that was actually really important in making me a better person. Now, before we dig in deeper into what does the Bible say about excellence, I want to find out what each of you think about excellence. So I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. One, I want you, when I say the word excellence, I want you to think of the person that comes to mind when you hear the word excellence. Could be a friend, a family member, could be a famous person, an athlete, an entertainer, politician, whatever it is that comes to your mind first. So think of that person, and then think of how or why they became excellent. Okay? And you're going to have 1 minute. They're going to put a 1-minute timer on the screen, and I want you to tell that to at least 2 or 3 other people. So by the end of this 1 minute, you should have in your mind 3 people who are excellent and why. Got it? Okay, can we have music in 1 minute? And you guys need to talk to each other. Go. All right, that's 20 seconds. You should be talking to at least your second person now. All right, find a third person. Make sure you have 3 people. Okay, I'm going to ask you to tell me what the person beside you said. And I'm just going to point to some people at random. So you got at least 2 or 3 in your mind? Okay. I'm going to ask right there with the red bag. Or red pillow. Somebody beside you, what did they say? What did he say? Yeah, you. What did somebody say? Somebody that's excellent. It's not a trick question. God. All right, we'll count God. He doesn't really fit in any of my categories, but we'll put him down here. God. We'll get back to him because that's part of what I'm going to talk about. Somebody else over here. Baseball hat right here. Somebody around you. What did they say? Dad. Okay. Why is your dad excellent? Smart and what? Leader. Okay, that's great. All right, so I heard somebody here had one.
Okay, Chuck Norris, because he can slice the hot knife with butter.
Hot knife with butter. Chuck Norris. Somebody else. Right over here. Yeah, what did she say? And why? Bieber. Okay, so would we say he overcame? Yeah. Overcome challenge. Okay, anything else about him? I don't even spell that right. Okay, somebody else. Yes. Why Tim Tebow? Okay, but why is he good? Tebow, hard worker. Okay, somebody in the back. Over there, this table right here. Somebody back here. Don't pretend I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at you guys. Well, somebody right there. Give me somebody. Somebody that's excellent. Why? Because what about him? Why is your grandpa so cool? Because he what? He speaks different languages. That is cool. All right, grandpa, would we say that's smart? Different languages. Okay, somebody else. I need another one. Nobody? Hand up. Why Abby Wambach? Because she got punched in the eye and what? Still made a goal. All right. Would she be up here? Abby. So would we say like determined maybe? Is that right? Any other characteristics that make somebody excellent that you guys can think about? Hmm? Who? Inspiring. Somebody would be inspiring. Other characteristics. Talented. Dedicated. Positive. Loyal. Okay, here's what, we could go on and on. Here's what we're going to do though. Most people think that excellence is something that other people just have, right? Now, when we just finished singing, and Adam and the worship team, they're pretty excellent, right? And here's the problem is I could never be like them, right? I mean, if you heard me sing, if they ever let me stand up here and have a mic and sing, that would be the only time they ever let me do that because I wouldn't be any good, okay? I can't be excellent like them. Okay, we think of Tim Tebow, we go, oh, I could never be like him. He's like 6'4" and 300 pounds and whatever it is that he is. Well, he's probably not 300 pounds. He's probably less than that, but... Or I can't sing like them, or, you know, whatever. But here's the deal. I'm not expected to be what they are. I'm just expected to be excellent in my own area. Here's what I want to do, though. How many of these categories that we just described did they control, and how many of these adjectives do they not control? I'm going to circle if you tell me this is something that's in their control, or if it's not in their control, we'll just leave it, okay? Hard worker. Did Tim Tebow and Abby Wambach to control whether they're hard workers? Yeah. Okay. To be determined. Do you control whether you're determined? All right. What about overcoming challenges? If you have a challenge in your life, can you control whether you're an overcomer or whether you give up and quit? Yes. Okay. Can you control whether you're inspirational? Yeah. Inspirational is kind of like a positive person, overcomes troubles. Can you control whether you're smart, whether you're a smart leader? Leader, yes. Well, smart. Can you control whether you're smart? Think about the smart people. What do? They work hard. They study. Can you control whether you do that? Yeah. How about, can you control whether you learn another language? Yes. Can you control whether you have talent? You can control what you do with it, but you can't control the talent, right? Like, I don't have singing talent. You might. I can't control that, so I'm going to leave that one. Can you control whether you're dedicated? How about positive? How about loyal? Here's the point. How many of these attributes that you told me are required to be excellent do you control? You control all of them except what? Talent, or the word that the Bible uses for this sometimes is gift. We each have different gifts. But the things that we have to do to become excellent with our gifts, whatever they are, or talents, okay, it's the same, and you control them. You control whether you're hard worker, determined, whether you think good thoughts, whether you do good things. You control all of those things. So to become excellent is something we control. I can't become a football player. I am not built strong enough. I'm a little twig. If I were to get hit once, I'd be broken in half, okay? I didn't choose this. This is the way God chose me. But I can control whether I'm excellent with what He made me to be. God made me to be a teacher and a speaker. God made me to be a leader. Those are things I'm working hard on, okay? And whatever it is that God made you to be, it's the same process. Now, we have a couple verses where we're going to talk about what it is actually that God talks about becoming excellent. And God actually gave us a really cool set of verses that talk exactly about how to become excellent, okay? 1 Corinthians 12 and 13. You should write this down or text message it to yourself, because we're only going to read a couple verses. But they're really interesting chapters. 1 Corinthians 12 gives a whole long list of really impressive things that people in the church do. Says there are some people who have great faith. There are some people who make miracles happen. There are some people who serve really hard. There are some people who are really good at this and that and the other thing. If that chapter was written today, it would be like there are some people who are really good worship leaders. There are some people who are really good at organizing and planning and speaking and teaching and all of those things. Okay, the last verse, we can put up on the screen, the last verse in this says this. After listing all the supposedly impressive things that people can do, this is what the last verse says. But earnestly desire the greater gifts. Everybody say greater gifts. What he's telling us is there are certain gifts you can't get. If you are not comfortable standing in front of people, you're probably not going to be a speaker. If you're not a good singer, you're not going to be a good singer. But what he says is there are certain gifts that you can get. And then he says, and I show you still more excellent way. There is a more excellent way than all of those other things to pursue whatever your calling, whatever your life is designed to be. The word excellent is the word in Greek, it says hooper is the actual word. And what it means is to go steps beyond. Each and every one of you, with whatever you're good at, you can go steps beyond to be excellent. You can move a little bit farther to be excellent. But the greater gift is what's listed in chapter 13. Does anybody know 1 Corinthians 13? They read it at every wedding. They call it the blank chapter, the love chapter. Love is patient, love is kind. The next verse, the next set of verses that he says is the more excellent way is love. Can we have the next verse up? He says, if I have all faith, so as to be able to move mountains. If my faith is so impressive, if my skills are so good that I can move a mountain, but I don't have love, I am nothing. So basically what he's saying is it doesn't matter what gifts you have, if you don't have love, you got nothing. And so the question becomes, to be excellent, how do we take the life that God's given us? How do we become more like Christ, more loving, and ultimately be excellent in the categories and the areas that God has designed for us to be excellent? So we're going to wrap up with 3 very simple things that you and I do every day that determine whether we're going to live an excellent life, whether we're going to live a life that's love, whether we're going to live a life where we choose the things that you described that make us excellent. Now, I'm going to suggest that every single day you have thoughts, correct? Every single day you make actions, and every single day you choose your attitude. Now, here's the question. Do you choose your thoughts? Sometimes that's a good answer. Right now, you're thinking about excellence. Did you choose to think about excellence? No. Who chose that for you? Me. How did it occur that you came here to church, though? Did you choose to come to church? You chose to be influenced by church today, by coming. So you can choose who influences your thoughts, but you don't get to actually choose your thoughts on a day-to-day basis. Same is true of actions, same is true of your attitudes. Now, if you want to turn around and look back here, you might have seen on the way in that there's a rope. This rope is going to represent the direction of your life, okay, for the next we got 5 minutes here. On this end where Mr. Murphy is standing, we're going to say that's excellence. I believe that God has an excellent plan for your life, and that if you're moving towards that plan, that's excellence. Over here, we're going to say is anything that takes you away from that plan. Okay, so when we think about our thoughts, when we think about our actions, when we think about our attitudes, when we have good thoughts, godly thoughts, you're here at church thinking about how do I become excellent, how do I do better, you're moving towards excellence, a plan that God has for you. When you have thoughts that aren't so excellent, you're moving away from God's plan. And what I want to say is that excellence isn't perfection. Excellence isn't being at the end. Excellence is which direction are you moving right now? Which direction are your thoughts taking you? Which direction are your actions taking you? Which directions are your attitudes taking you? And although you don't control those things in the moment, you control who you're around, and that controls those things. You control what you do, and that controls your actions, your thoughts, your attitudes. Now, in the very first verses of Psalms, so you can write down Psalm chapter 1, and you turn to Psalm chapter 1 sometime this week and look these over, you're going to find 3 specific ways that we do this. So can we have that verse up there? All right. This is how the whole book of Psalms starts. How blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, stand in the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of scoffers. 3 things that means you're going to be blessed or have an excellent trajectory in your life. The first one is the counsel of the wicked. That's talking about who's influencing your thoughts. The counsel of the wicked, that's who's giving you advice and who's shaping your thoughts. 2 days ago, I watched the Avengers movie. Who's seen the Avengers movie? Good movie, right? For 2.5 hours, who influenced my thoughts? The guy who made the movie. His name's Joss Whedon. Great director. Great movie, right? Let's look at our little trajectory here. For 2.5 hours, did I move towards excellence? Did I move towards something other, a different plan, or did I just kind of stay the same? I didn't move any closer to excellence. The word entertainment means to have no mind. So for 2.5 hours, I had no mind. I let Joss Whedon control my thoughts, and I didn't go anywhere. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that's good. I didn't progress towards excellence. I didn't get to I didn't have my life fall apart, right? But every single day, you are around people, you are around movies, you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you're being influenced one direction or the other. So when you go to that party on a Saturday night, and you choose to go there, and you know when you get there, people are going to ask you to do something that compromises your values. Something that you're not being asked to do when you come here. Something that maybe you don't want your parents to know. All of a sudden, you're taking steps, you're taking actions or thoughts, or maybe your attitude is being influenced, and it's moving you in a direction that's different than the excellent plan that God has for you. In the moment, are you choosing those thoughts? No. It's before, when you're deciding where you're going to go to be influenced, that determines how your thoughts are being shaped. You can't wait till the moment where somebody says, hey, drink this, or sniff this, or smoke that, to make the right choice for your actions. Because you won't make the right choice in that moment. You have to make the right choice far earlier. Because you don't control your thoughts, your actions, or your attitudes. The people and the environments you're in control them. That's what this verse is talking about. The third line, blessed is the man who doesn't stand in the path of sinners. That doesn't mean stay still. The word stand in the path of sinners means join the action of the other people. So when you get in the car with a bunch of people who are maybe going in the wrong direction in life, you're choosing to be a part of that. And you're moving in some direction. Now, when you choose to come to church, when you choose to join RGen, when you choose to serve, when you choose to come to the Alive conference next week, you're making choices to be influenced by people who are moving you in a direction that God has designed for you to reach your excellent place. When you choose to read your Bible in the morning rather than spend the first 5 minutes of your day checking Instagram, you're moving in a direction of excellence. And that's what we need to remember each and every day, is that excellence is the direction you're headed, not a hopeless end that you want to get to. So what I just want to say is that as you seek to become a person who's excellent, none of you guys woke up this morning and said, you know, I'm going to suck today and I'm going to do it real well. You're not going to wake up tomorrow, go to school, sit down in math class and go, I'm hoping for an F here. You know what I mean? You're not even going to say, you know what, I want a solid D. You want to do well. You know, basketball season's coming up. I was a basketball player in high school. I didn't go into the game and say, hey, you know what, I'm really hoping I score 1 point. I want to get 1 foul shot. No, I went into every game thinking I'm going to score 20 points. I didn't score 20 points very often, but that was my goal. I wanted to be excellent. So in practice, I'm working hard. I'm trying to get better. Each of you wants to be excellent. And that's great because God wants you to be excellent. The problem is the decisions you make of who's going to influence you are going to direct your thoughts, your actions, your attitudes in one direction or the other. I can't tell you who to hang out with, but I can tell you the result of who you choose to hang out with, and that will be moving you one direction or the other. The last one here is, blessed is the man who doesn't sit in the seat of scoffers. Scoffers is about your attitude. You know those people who are cranky all the time? Do you know what I mean? They may even be Christians. They may even be sitting right beside you. You may be one of those people. Hopefully you're not. But it's really clear that if you sit in the seat of scoffers, if you hang out with people who are negative, what's going to happen to you? You're going to turn negative. If you do the opposite, you hang out with the positive people. You know those stupid, happy people, the ones that are like always giggling and laughing. Do you know Mike Thomas? Most of you probably know Mike. He's one of those people for me. He is so much fun to hang out with. I can't help but smile when I hang out with him. I crack stupid jokes. We have a great time. But when I'm with him, I'm happy. He's the kind of person I want to spend more time with. There are people in my life that take me in a different direction. But when I'm hanging out with those people with a good attitude, the direction that I'm moving on my life is towards excellence. But when I hang out with those cranky people, I don't know why we even hang out with them, but when I do, I'm moving the other direction. Excellence isn't where you hope to end up. Excellence is the direction that you allow yourself to be influenced in, the direction that you take each and every day. Excellence doesn't mean that you have to be a preacher or a missionary. It doesn't mean that you have to be a worship leader. There's a lot of different ways to be excellent, and it's unique to each and every one of you. And in about 30 seconds, we're going to hear something called spoken word. You've heard this before, but we have a young man, Ty, who's going to kind of run us through his call to excellence. And he's going to share this truth in a way that I could never do it. If I tried to get up here and sound kind of hip-hop cool, you'd laugh me off the stage because that's not my skill. But for me, moving in a direction of excellence is about controlling my thought. Who controls my thoughts? Who controls my attitudes? Who controls my actions? So I'm going to pray right now. You guys are going to come up, and then we're going to hear another type of excellence on the topic of excellence, which is pretty cool.